Hello and welcome to Along the Way Life's Journey. I'm your host, Carl Buccellato. Well, this is a new year today where I'm recording in 2026, and we're going to take a little change of pace. We've normally had many guests on the show. We've done many shows of covering enormous number of topics, and many people write into me on social media and ask questions, or they may make some comments about their personal lives and how things are going and ask some advice, I guess. And so I thought it would be appropriate, since I've been doing this for a couple of years now, to go start at the beginning, because many people don't really know my background and they don't know the history that brought me to this show in the first place. So my producer recommended that I take a few moments and just bring you all up to date. So that's what we're going to do today. As I said, my name is Carl Buccellato. I'm 84 years old. I'm a retired businessman. I was in business for 65 years, and I was quite successful at my business. But my fundamental background was anything but successful. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, born in the first couple of months of World War II when the world was at war. And I was born to an Italian-American family, Catholic family in Brooklyn. No money, very poor, working hard and struggling to make it through every day. And so that was my background growing up in Brooklyn. I was raised and educated in the New York City school system. I was a street kid. I had a lot of anger and antagonism inside of me for a number of reasons. I was quite big for my age. By the time I was 13 years old, I was 6 foot tall and 185 pounds, and a tough kid, street kid. I was a amateur boxer, had many fights, had lots of awards acclaimed to me for my boxing capability. Then went on and experienced life. It was the time of the Vietnam era. A lot of people went to war. A lot of people came home. A lot of people got their educations. I got my education, got married, started a family, started businesses, and was quite successful with a number of businesses. Took a number of them in large paths, employed thousands of people, made opportunities for people to become very successful and make money on their own right as a result of my visions and the businesses that I was in, and did quite well for a long time. I also had a very serious back problem in the middle 1990s that caused me to remove myself from the business that I had at that time. I was the CEO of a publicly traded company and could not function because of chronic pain and a back problem. So much so that after 37 invasive procedures into my spine in one way or another, they installed a morphine pump, and that morphine pump allowed me to self-medicate. And of course, you know the story after that. There was no viable way to maintain a business or even to actively engage in life. I was married at that time for 39 years. The morphine pump resulted in my closing my business, losing my marriage, and virtually being a vegetable who could not even carry on this kind of a conversation. But fortunately, God prevailed, and he brought a person into my life who could help me medically and get me off all of those drugs and get me functioning again. At one point, I couldn't even stand or walk without 2 canes. But he got rid of all that stuff over many years, and I came back into life. And after a period of time, I began to function again and went out socially, and I met my current wife at that time, and I was single for almost 7 years, and she was single for about the same amount of time, and we married, and that's now 19 years ago. We're married 19 years, and life has been a complete reversal. It's actually the happiest time of my life right now, and for many reasons in many ways. And so many people write in and they say they're senior citizens and they have these issues and these ailments and so forth, or they have these problems with their children and they ask questions. And I thought I'd just chat a little bit about those things. What does it mean to have come to the point where I'm 84 years old and I'm apparently in good condition? You see, I'm physically fit, but I also have my chronic pain even till today. I have advanced arthritis in my spine and in my hips, and there isn't a day that goes by that I don't feel it and I don't know about it. I go to PT, physical training or physical therapy, a couple of times a week. I make it my business to go to my cardiologist and my doctors and dentists on a regular basis for preventive effort. In 2011, I had a hemorrhagic stroke. A half-inch bleeder in the left side of my brain put me down. They rushed me to a hospital, which fortunately was one of the best stroke centers in Florida. But even they told my wife that night it wasn't likely that I would live to the morning, that I would not make it through the night. That was 2011. And my wife said something very famous at that time. She said, "You don't know my God." And she was right. Our God carried me through. Let me tell you a little bit about my wife. There are two things in life that I think a man needs in order to be happy and successful and to sustain. One is he has to have a faith in his God, which I do, a deep-rooted faith in my God. The second is he has to have a loving, caring, and faith-filled wife, which is exactly what I have. She is not only beautiful externally, internally. She's a deeply faith-filled woman. She understands scripture. She has huge wisdom. She is beautiful. She is highly creative. She creates the most beautiful things in her artwork. She's an acclaimed artist, painter, jewelry maker, poet, creates music. She's just fantastic in many ways. And we start our day every day with devotion. Every day we begin our day with devotion, the two of us together. We go off and do our own function throughout the day, but that's the mainstay of our day. And we thank God every day and give thanksgiving for the blessings that he's given us. Our health, both of us have had serious issues in this last 19 years. I almost lost her as well to an ailment that looked like it was going to take her, and it didn't. And here we are. She's again regained her health, and we travel. We go on an annual cruise. A couple of months last year at this time, we had gone on a cruise, and I did a whole program on the cruise, and thousands of people saw it and they liked it and they said, tell us more. Well, we just came off another cruise on the Celebrity XL, which I must tell you, I have no sponsorship by Celebrity, but I will tell you, we love the cruise line. And this new ship that we went on, the Celebrity XL, brand new flagship for the fleet, is just outstanding. It is beautiful. And we had a wonderful, wonderful trip. So here we are now back. It is February, and it's time to reinstitute this program and start again. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some questions that people have asked. A lot of senior people look at this show. Some people who are not so senior, but it's bad to me, but they're in their 40s and 50s, and they ask questions about things in life, and I will try to answer some of them. One of the things I came to realize is that with longevity comes joy, because of great people that you meet. But it also comes sadness, because there are many, many people in my life that I have loved, and they've been dear friends to me, and I've gained great insights and joy moments with them. But they have passed. They're no longer here, but they are still in my memory. And as long as they live in my memory, as far as I'm concerned, they're alive. So I do live in a life that has great deal of activity involved in it. I think one of the things that's essential to stay vital and to stay not young, but effective in life is to be involved, to be active, to make a contribution to the world. And I stay busy. I stay as busy as I can. I'm not physically able to do the kind of stress that I used to when I was a young man. I certainly can't go into a boxing ring for 3 or 5 rounds anymore. I'd be knocked on my face in the first 2 seconds. That doesn't happen any longer. But I stay active. I try to stay in the pool on a daily basis. It's been 40 and 50 degrees here in Florida in the last couple of weeks, so that hasn't been able to happen. But normally I'm in the pool every day. I do have certain physical ailments that doesn't allow me to walk great distances any longer or ride bikes at great distances, I get a lot of pressure and pain in my spine and back. My ankle swells up, which is normal for all of us who are senior people. These are the kinds of things you live with. But you stay active, you get involved. I do these kind of programs because I believe I have a voice and I have something to say, to contribute. And I make these comments so that, not for commercial purposes, certainly. I have no sponsors on these programs whatsoever. I wrote a book, as you can see. That book is right there. I wrote a book some years ago, and it became an Amazon bestseller, and it has been the sponsor of this program. The book is called For Every Page a Turning, and it has to do basically with life, with my life over the 20th century and the various changes that took place in my life, and how I sought for and found God, and it helped bring me into a new place that was wonderful, and it remains wonderful. But some of the questions I have, people talk about, what do you do to sustain yourself physically and emotionally to keep vibrant and be vital as an individual? Well, as I said, I do this program. I read a lot. I watch documentaries on TV as well as other things. I make it my business I am an online student with Hillsdale College. I take various programs and courses that help me stay astute and alert. I'm a student of history. I love history. I love reading the Bible. I love reading other historical novels and actual events that took place. They're very important for me because I find wisdom in them that I'm able to use on a daily basis. There are a number of things that I do that maybe some people would say they're slogans or they're gimmicks, but they're not to me. They work. There are things that I do on a daily basis. One of the things that I do is before I take my head off the pillow every morning when I wake up, I say the Lord's Prayer. And I give thanks for one more day of life because I know it could be my last day. I don't have yesterday any longer. Tomorrow is a promise that may never come. This may be my last day, and I want to give thanks to my Lord and be diligent to live this life today. The other thing that I do that I have found very, very valuable, those of you who have read my book or know about anything of my history, I'm an adult child of alcoholic, which means I had a parent who was an active alcoholic. And for a number of years, I attended programs that are a 12-step program to assist family and children who grew up under an alcoholic environment. Not alcoholic myself. I don't use alcohol. But there were many things that were an effect of having lived under those circumstances. And I learned the Serenity Prayer. And the Serenity Prayer is a simple one. It said, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are three distinct different statements there. And they may seem as though the first is the positive and the second two are overcoming negatives. But they're all positives, and they're all negatives at the same time. They all seek out God's help to be able to accept life as it comes to us, to have the courage to look at the things in life that we are doing that are causing problems to ourselves or to others, and to change them, to confront them, to change them, to modify them, and to know the difference of which ones we can change and which we cannot change. I say often another statement that I use very frequently, there are three kinds of people in this world. There are people who make things happen, there are people who watch things happen, and there are people who wonder what happened. And every day I ask myself, which one of these people am I? Am I someone who has made something happen in this world? Have I made a beneficial impact on those around me or the people who don't even know me by contributions that I make or efforts that I make, ripples in the tide? Do I watch things happen and do nothing about it? Do I wonder what's happened? Well, that's all part of life because I have been and I am on a daily basis all three of those things. I make things happen. I am also a person who watches as things happen. Sometimes I watch in wonderment and I say, how can this happen? And so I take an action against it or I speak out against it. Sometimes I watch things happen that I have no business to intercede in because it's not my place to intercede in them. So I pray for these people. That's the intercession that I can do. And sometimes while I wonder what happened, I have to evaluate the circumstances beyond the obvious. What's bringing this to this point? What is it that I have missed that may have a value of a positive or a negative that draws away from us? Those are the things in life that we can't take for granted. They're essentials. So who am I? I'm a man who's lived a lot of life. I have lived many, many, many times facing death, and many, many, many times God has brought me back. I have lived in an environment where I have fathered 4 children, and I have grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and I, on a regular basis, speak to friends of mine on Zoom calls or regular telephone calls who live in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, in Southeast Asia, the UK, Italy, France. I speak to these people all the time. And some of my own children, on my birthday or Christmas, will send a text, "Happy birthday, Merry Christmas," 2 words, on the text from their cell phone that I know has been pre-populated from their calendar. Does it hurt? Yes, it hurts. I'd be a liar if I said it doesn't hurt. But it is life, and I must accept it. I reach out. I make efforts. If they are not received and returned, all I can do is pray at this point. They're adult people. They're not babies any longer. But I give thanks every single day for this great life that God has given me, this great wife who brings me such joy. The 2 of us together, we go away on the cruise. We're like children, laughing all the time, enjoying ourselves. Maybe I'll post some videos from the last show, the last cruise, to show you what I mean. But life is a wonderment, folks. We have to recognize that as we get older, we can't do the things that we did in the past, but we can do many other things. We can contribute to this life and to this world in many ways. We have a wisdom that the younger people haven't found yet, and it's our obligation to share that wisdom with the other generations, the generations to come, because that is the future of mankind. The generations that come and follow us, that's the future of this world. Do we maintain it? Do we support it? I think that's what we must do in life. So this is my message for today. It's my fireside chat, and I'm here because my producer said, people don't know much about you anymore. You should tell them who you are. So I'm telling you who I am. I'm a man who believes deeply in my God. I'm a man who loves his wife fully. I'm a man who is full of zest and joy of one more day of life. And I wish the same to all of you. And I will tell you what I say at the end of all my programs. And I don't say it flippantly. I say it honestly. Get somebody you know today. Get them in a big bear hug. Tell them you love them. Tell them you loved them. It may be the only time they hear those words today. I'm quite sure God loves them. And he loves you. And he loves me. And he loves everyone in this wonderful world. That's it, folks. That's my show for today. God bless you.